There comes a moment in every chosen one's life when silence no longer feels sacred, when patience no longer feels peaceful, and when turning the other cheek begins to look more like enabling evil than walking in love. For so long, the chosen ones have been mocked for their calmness, underestimated because of their gentleness, and targeted because of their light. But something shifts when a chosen one finally decides to fight back, not with hatred, not with revenge, but with the divine authority God placed within them. It's not a battle of fists or words, it's a spiritual earthquake. When a chosen one stops absorbing the pain and starts reflecting it back as power, the entire atmosphere changes. Heaven pays attention. The demons that once whispered lies start to flee, and the very people who once laughed at their quietness begin to tremble because they realize it was never weakness, it was restraint. Before we dive deep into this powerful message, I want to ask you something straight from the heart. If you're watching or listening to this, and you can feel this word finding you at the exact time you needed it most, don't scroll away. Type 1111 in the comment section as a sign that divine timing is at work in your life. That number is your confirmation from heaven that you're walking into alignment, that your season of suppression is over, and that your season of revelation has begun. And if this message speaks to your soul, make sure to subscribe and join this family of chosen ones, because this channel is not just content, it's a spiritual movement. Now, let's talk about the 9 dangerous things that happen when a chosen one finally fights back. 1. Their silence turns into a storm. When a chosen one fights back, they don't raise their voice, they raise their vibration. The silence that once made others feel powerful suddenly becomes the storm that exposes every false intention. People who mistook their quietness for fear start realizing that still waters run deep, and those deep waters are divine. The chosen one's silence becomes a mirror, reflecting every hidden agenda, every deceitful plan, and that reflection burns, it shakes pretenders to their core. Because when a chosen one's spirit awakens, their very presence becomes a form of warfare. You can feel it in the air. The shift, the electricity, what once was calm now carries thunder. But understand this, the silence of a chosen one is not weakness, it is sacred preparation. It is the space where divine strategy is formed. While others talk and plot, the chosen one listens to the voice of God, to the whispers of the Spirit, to the guidance that does not need noise. So when they rise, they do not come with empty words, but with divine power backing every step. Their silence becomes prophetic, their calm becomes contagious, and their energy begins to rearrange the atmosphere around them. Those who once thought they could manipulate the chosen one begin to tremble without knowing why. Because that silence they mocked is now roaring in the spirit. Every unspoken prayer, every tear, every quiet moment of surrender builds a storm of glory that God Himself unleashes in due time. When that moment comes, no force on earth can contain it. The same silence that was once ignored becomes the voice of judgment, and the chosen one's peace becomes their greatest weapon. 2. The spirit of confusion hits their enemies. When the chosen one fights back, confusion begins to scatter like wildfire among their enemies. The same people who planned their downfall start turning on each other. Suddenly, nothing works. The weapons they formed lose direction. The traps they set become their own prisons. The energy they once used to control and manipulate now backfires in ways they can't explain. This is divine law. What you send out returns multiplied. The chosen one's spiritual energy begins to reroute all negativity back to its source, and what was once laughter turns to chaos, as God ensures that no weapon formed against His child prospers. The confusion doesn't just touch their plans, it invades their peace. Sleepless nights, restless minds, and broken alliances begin to unfold like prophecy. The enemy starts questioning the very things they once trusted. Their words turn against them. Their alliances dissolve in mistrust. God dismantles their unity, scattering them the way He scattered the builders of Babel. And as the chosen one walks forward in quiet authority, their enemies stumble in the darkness of their own intentions. This confusion is not random, it is divine justice. Every whisper, every lie, every act of deceit is recorded in the heavens, and when the chosen one rises, that record demands repayment. The chosen one doesn't have to lift a finger, heaven fights in silence but strikes with precision. Their enemies begin to feel the weight of their own energy collapsing upon them. Nothing works anymore. Every move they make only strengthens the chosen one's path. What they built in deceit now crumbles in the light of truth. And as they lose their grip, they finally realize that you cannot curse what God has already blessed. 3. Hidden truths start to surface. When a chosen one stands up, truth begins to break through every shadow. Things people thought would stay buried start to rise. Secrets, lies, and betrayals all come to light. That's because chosen ones carry the frequency of revelation. Their awakening activates exposure in every environment they walk into. Masks fall. Hidden conversations come to the surface. Suddenly, people start getting uncomfortable around them. Not because the chosen one said anything, but because their energy reveals everything. When they fight back, they do it by standing in truth, and truth itself becomes their weapon. There's something about divine light that darkness cannot stand. The chosen one doesn't need to investigate or confront. The truth finds its own way to the surface around them. Phones glitch, secrets leak, people expose themselves out of nowhere. The universe aligns to clear the chosen one's path of every hidden scheme. It's almost as if their presence magnetizes revelation, pulling lies into the open so that healing and justice can finally occur. The truth begins to serve them, not harm them. Those who tried to hide behind manipulation find their own masks melting in the presence of divine authenticity. It's uncomfortable, yes, but necessary. Because the chosen one's life is not built on illusion, it's built on purpose. And purpose demands transparency. When they rise, everything around them must realign with truth. That's why people start to distance themselves. Not because the chosen one changed, but because truth exposes what was never real to begin with. Every revelation becomes a sign that God is cleaning house, preparing the chosen one for higher ground. And when all has been revealed, only what's pure, loyal, and divine will remain. 4. The energy of retribution awakens. The chosen one doesn't fight like the world fights. Their revenge is not in destruction, but in elevation. When they start moving forward, doors open that were long shut. Blessings begin to rain where drought once was, and those who once mocked their downfall now have to watch them rise in silence. God does not avenge with noise, he avenges with favor. When a chosen one fights back, heaven moves. The tables turn so powerfully that even the chosen one themselves stands in awe of how quickly justice unfolds. Retribution for a chosen one looks like restoration. It's not about seeing others fall. It's about seeing divine balance restored. Those who sowed pain begin to reap confusion, while the chosen one reaps peace, abundance, and joy. God's timing is flawless. When he lifts his children, he does it so undeniably that even their enemies are forced to acknowledge his hand. The energy that once surrounded them in opposition now becomes the very force propelling them higher. It's the paradox of divine vengeance. The chosen one wins not by striking back, but by succeeding so magnificently that their victory itself becomes a message. Every blessing is proof that their suffering was not in vain. Every open door is a reminder that heaven keeps receipts. The chosen one doesn't boast, they simply glow. Their elevation becomes a sermon, their peace becomes prophecy. And when people see them thriving, they realize no one can curse what God has decided to favor. The retribution of the chosen is not in destroying enemies, it's in becoming living proof that God always finishes what he starts. 5. Their presence becomes a spiritual alarm. When a chosen one finally activates their power, their mere presence becomes unbearable to those living in deceit. They don't even need to speak, Their energy alone exposes hypocrisy, evil, and hidden jealousy. Environments that once felt comfortable for their enemies suddenly feel heavy and charged. That's because when the Chosen One awakens, they carry divine fire. Their aura becomes an alarm to darkness, warning, "You can't stay here anymore." Their light begins to purge everything that cannot stand in truth. The Chosen One walks into rooms and shifts the vibration instantly. People start fidgeting, conversations stop, and unspoken guilt begins to rise. It's not intimidation, it's conviction. Their energy carries purity, and purity naturally exposes corruption. That's why some people avoid them, ghost them, or suddenly grow cold. Their spirits are disturbed by the light they carry. A Chosen One's presence is like a mirror reflecting everyone's true self. To those living righteously, it feels comforting and healing, but to those who thrive in manipulation and lies, it feels suffocating. That's the divine contrast. Light cannot coexist with deceit. As the Chosen One grows stronger, their aura expands like a holy flame, consuming negativity, burning through falsehood, and calling everything around them into alignment. Their energy demands truth. So people either transform or retreat. The Chosen One doesn't chase, they simply radiate. And that radiation alone is enough to send shockwaves through darkness. Every step they take sounds like a spiritual siren, alerting heaven that their purpose has been activated. And from that moment, nothing impure can stand in their path again. 6. Divine protection becomes aggressive. There's a difference between being protected and being divinely guarded. When a Chosen One finally stands up, the angels assigned to them begin to move with fierce precision. Accidents that were meant to destroy them get redirected. Attacks that were planned in secret fail without explanation. It's not luck, it's covenant. Heaven begins to fight battles seen and unseen. The Chosen One begins to walk with a peace so profound that even chaos cannot touch them. God Himself steps into the battlefield and says, "Enough." When divine protection activates at full force, it is no longer passive, it becomes aggressive. It intercepts evil before it even reaches the Chosen One's doorstep. It blinds the eyes of those plotting harm. It confuses the tongue of those speaking curses. The Chosen One may not even know the full extent of the danger that surrounded them, because God handled it before it could manifest. There are moments when the Chosen One will feel a sudden pull to change direction, cancel a plan, or stay home, and later realize it was divine intervention. Their steps become ordered in such precision that every trap becomes a stepping stone. Every storm sent to drown them becomes a baptism into greater purpose. This level of protection is not something earned, it's part of the divine agreement that comes with being chosen. The more they awaken, the more heaven aligns itself around them like an impenetrable shield. Angels move ahead of them, beside them, and behind them. The enemy grows frustrated because nothing they plan seems to work anymore. It's as if the Chosen One has become invisible to darkness, untouchable, unreachable, surrounded by glory. And that's exactly what happens when divine guardianship activates. God Himself draws a boundary and declares, "This one is mine." 7. The tables turn in sudden silence. When a Chosen One fights back, the tables don't turn with noise or warning. They turn quietly, almost invisibly. One day, those who mocked them will look up and realize they've been replaced, outshined, and outgrown. The Chosen One's rise is silent but undeniable. And what makes it dangerous is that it's God-ordained, unstoppable, unexplainable, and perfectly timed. The same people who once said, "They'll never recover," will have to witness a comeback that looks like divine poetry. That's the mystery of divine reversal. It happens in stillness. God doesn't announce His moves, He works in silence, rearranging circumstances behind the scenes. By the time the Chosen One re-emerges, everything has shifted. The people who once laughed are now silent. The ones who tried to bury them now have to watch flowers bloom from the soil they used to cover them. And the beauty of it all is that the chosen one doesn't seek revenge. They simply obey, heal, and evolve. Their glow becomes their evidence. Their peace becomes their announcement. While others were watching for them to fail, heaven was preparing a stage for their rise. This turnaround is so divine that it doesn't even make sense to the natural mind. It's too smooth, too perfect, too precise. Doors that were once bolted shut now swing open. Opportunities chase them instead of being chased. And every tongue that rose in judgment now falls silent in awe. That's how God restores. He does it quietly, but with undeniable power. The chosen one learns that vengeance doesn't need to be loud. True victory is silent elevation. It's when you walk past those who doubted you, not with bitterness, but with grace. Because deep down you know the truth. The same silence they mocked is the silence that God used to build your throne. 8. They begin to speak with authority. A chosen one's words carry weight because they speak from spirit, not ego. When they finally decide to speak, it's not to argue, it's to declare. Their voice begins to cut through lies like a sword. It's no longer about proving themselves, it's about aligning with their divine truth. People listen differently. The energy shifts when they open their mouth. The atmosphere bends to the frequency of truth. And suddenly, the chosen one who was once ignored becomes the voice everyone cannot help but hear. But this authority isn't loud or prideful, it's spiritual. Their words are seasoned with wisdom, charged with faith, and guided by the divine. They speak from experience, from pain transformed into revelation. Every sentence becomes a vibration of clarity that pierces confusion. The chosen one doesn't speak just to be heard, they speak to awaken. Their voice begins to echo in people's souls, stirring conviction, healing wounds, and awakening dormant power. Those who once dismissed them now find themselves quoting their words. Those who once ridiculed them now seek their counsel. That's the power of divine authority. It cannot be manufactured. It must be earned through fire, through tears, through endurance. When the chosen one speaks, even the atmosphere listens. Their declarations carry creative force. They can shift circumstances through the power of faith. Their words manifest because they're aligned with heaven's will. That's why the enemy fought so hard to silence them. Because the moment they spoke from their healed place, their voice became unstoppable. The world begins to recognize that their silence was not defeat, it was preparation. Now, every time they open their mouth, the divine speaks through them. Their words heal, break curses, and open doors that no human can shut. 9. The enemy realizes it picked the wrong one. This is the most dangerous thing of all. When the chosen one finally fights back, the enemy realizes it never stood a chance. Every attack, every betrayal, every heartbreak, it all becomes fuel for their divine awakening. What was meant to break them built them. What was meant to silence them sharpened their spirit. The enemy thought it was burying them, but it was actually planting them. And now the harvest has come, a season of mass destruction for darkness, and divine vindication for the chosen. The enemy begins to tremble because everything it meant for evil is now being used for good. Every trap becomes a testimony, every wound becomes wisdom. The chosen one's pain becomes power. And as they rise, the realization strikes. The battle was never equal. The chosen one was protected, anointed, and covered from the very beginning. The enemy was fighting someone who had divine backing. And that's a war darkness can never win. What once seemed like defeat now looks like divine setup. Every loss, every delay, every rejection turns into acceleration. Now, the chosen one moves with holy fire. They don't just survive, they dominate. They walk into rooms they were once locked out of. They stand in authority where they once felt unworthy. And the enemy can only watch as everything they tried to destroy flourishes. Because when God fights for his own, the end is already written. The chosen one becomes a living example of redemption, a walking reminder that divine timing always wins. The enemy picked the wrong one because this one was chosen, covered, and destined for greatness from the start. What was once a season of attack becomes a season of divine uprising, and the world will never be the same again. Chosen one, this is not just a message, it's a prophetic confirmation. You are not crazy, you are awakening. This is the moment when God says, enough of surviving, now it's time to conquer. Don't fight like the world, fight with peace, with truth, with prayer, and with the certainty that heaven stands behind you. This is the Chosen Seer channel. If you received this message right when your soul needed it most, type 1111 in the comments and claim your divine timing. Because this is your season of revelation, restoration, and righteous victory. Thank you for watching.